A second, well, you ready?
Somewhere we're at.
Yep. Yeah. It's 7 o'clock somewhere, and that somewhere is here. We are in the City Hall second floor conference room. It's called to order the City of Brainerd Personnel and Finance Committee meeting, and we'll start with introductions.
Tasting Line, Ward 3.
Jennifer Bergman, City Administrator.
Connie Hillman, City Finance Director.
Alderman at Large, Kevin Studick.
Chris Schubert, HR Director.
John Davis, Police Department.
And Gabe Johnson, Chair of the committee. We have 7, I think, 7 items. What's it say?
6.
6 items. Mine isn't scrolling, it's just highlighting everything. So maybe I need Kevin to fix my computer.
I'll get right on that.
The first item is to approve a change order for the public safety cold storage building. Connie.
Now we'll take this. So back on February 22nd, the council awarded the bid to Lind Construction to construct the PD cold storage building for $171,050. The total budget was $205,000. And we have spent $3,500 also paid for engineering and design. In the building permit review, it was determined that to meet the current zoning requirements for this location, the street-facing wall must be sided no more than 50% with steel panels. And this was not included in the original drawing. Lind did provide a quote for $13,546 to replace half of the south wall with Nichiha panels.
Zoom type.
Exactly. So now it'll have this Nichiha on this side right here rather than it all being right here in order to meet our zoning codes. So what we spent to date and what the budget is, there's $30,450 remaining, so there is enough in the budget to absorb the change order for $13,846. So it is staff's recommendation that we approve the change order from Lind Construction. Where did it go now? Come on. From Lind Construction for the Nichiha panels.
I shall move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I guess I have one question. After having to deal with the city's onerous and annoying zoning code, was it decided that we should probably change it in the industrial park, that we don't need 50% non-steel buildings? Or was that discussion had at a staff meeting?
We have not had that discussion. We can. We had other buildings that did do that. So
Probably not a bad idea. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere anyway.
Yeah, and I've had people who built in the industrial park, or even remodel in the industrial park, and run into that same problem, and it just adds cost in an industrial park.
Yep. We will bring that up next week at department head meeting.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is authorize staff to conduct internal posting for the transit coordinator position.
Our newly hired City Engineer Public Works Director has now had an opportunity to observe the transit department after former transit coordinator Andy Stone retired. At this time, staff is recommending to approve a minor adjustment to the transit coordinator job description and to authorize staff to conduct an internal-only job posting process for the transit coordinator position. Why we are asking for the internal process is because our employee policy manual requires that all positions be posted for a minimum of 3 calendar days. So at this time, staff is asking for a motion to approve the updated transit coordinator job description and to authorize staff to conduct a job posting process for only internal candidates for the transit coordinator position.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Historically, has this type of action come from the Transit Advisory Committee, or has it always just been council action on the staffing of the transit department?
I don't remember it ever going through the Transit Advisory Committee in the 2 hires we've had.
Okay.
Seems appropriate. It should go through council.
Well, the ultimate hiring authority is council, but
Yeah.
usually, you know, we like to empower our committees to be empowered, right? But if we haven't traditionally, we'll just go with it like this. Any other discussion?
Just a quick question. How many employees do they have?
Transit?
Yeah.
Right now they have 1.
Okay.
Is our acting transit coordinator.
Okay.
At this point, if the acting transit coordinator gets the position, we are not planning to backfill the administrative or the transit operations specialist position, hoping that other people can absorb some of her duties.
Okay.
And we'll see how that goes for a while.
Okay.
That's good to hear.
Sounds like a plan.
Yep, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is Lardy promotion step clarification.
On August 1st, the City Council approved the promotion of Chad Lardy from the Street Maintenance 1 position to the Street Maintenance 3 sewer lead after accepting the retirement of our current Maintenance 3 sewer lead, Gary Thompson. Council approved the initial step 3 placement for the promotion with advancement to step 4 when he received his Class B MPCA sewer collector's license. Since that time, we learned that Mr. Lardy is not eligible to test for that license, and Mr. Lardy has asked for clarification on his initial step placement. To give you a little bit more background, Mr. Lardy agreed to this promotion believing he would be getting step 4. He thought he was testing for a B, he thought he was going to get a B. Right before he was going to test for that B, it was discovered he's not eligible and because he did not possess the Class C license for at least a year. This was contrary to what his supervisor had told him, and I guess no one else really checked into it, and so that was when the wage was negotiated. That's what he was under the assumption. Mr. Lardy has expressed several reasons for the step 4 placement, including taking the initiative to obtain the Class C license as needed by the city before Mr. Thompson's retirement. He has worked as a pipe layer for 12 plus years, with 12 of those years as a supervisor, overseeing crews between 40 to 60 employees, and as a sewer lead, he will supervise someone. He has worked exclusively with Mr. Thompson for the last 2 years to learn our sewer collection system, and he's been the primary operator for our Vector and sewer camera, and has the most experience with it. So, going back again, the city is required by state law to have someone have this Class C license. He took the initiative to do it for us, to do what we have to have. With that in mind, staff is recommending to clarify the initial step placement for Mr. Lardy's promotion, which will be effective on October 16th, so that he will be at step 4, which is a 30-20 or 30-38 per hour.
Mr. Chair, a couple of clarifications. You have to hold a C license for 3 years in order to be eligible for,
It's just 1 year.
Chad told me 3. Oh.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of confusion in the street department that might need to get buttoned up.
Well, so the other thing is that, so right now, Charlie Gannon with BPU has an A license. These are MPCA permits, not CDLs. I think that's another thing that also gets a bit confusing. Gary was the only one at the street department with a C license. He is now leaving. Chad is coming in now with one. He tested right away. The other thing about the difference between a B and a C license, a B license is for cities with populations above 15,000, and a C license is for cities between 1,500 and 14,999. So Chad had every intention of getting the B license. We actually don't need a B license, but he's still interested in pursuing and getting that B license after he works under somebody with a C, or works with a C license for 3 years. He can get it after 2 if he takes classes. So that's the difference also between a C and a B. We also believe that Chad Lardy did negotiate in good faith. MPCA does not let you know what test you're testing for until about a week before the test.
We are going to probably need someone with a B license in the near future. Granted, it's done with the census. So in 2030, when they do the census again, I'm thinking we'll go over that 15,000 anyways. So we felt this was a good faith effort for a person that did try, and he thought he was negotiating in good faith.
Okay. So we need a C license, he's got a C license, we don't need a B license. But he's
And
willing to
and
go
nobody
for
in
one
the entire
future.
city knew that until this week.
Okay, well, yes, that
And
too.
the census isn't gonna be until 2030.
Okay,
So the motion is to clarify the initial step replacement for Chad Lardy's promotion on October 16, 2022 to street maintenance 3 sewer lead will be at step 4 for $38.38 an hour.
I have another question actually,
Okay.
before you make the motion. Okay, so so he just got his C license?
He did.
He took the, that's the thing he did, that, okay. Okay.
Be tested at the end of August.
Yeah, all right.
So I would make that motion.
Which, to have him, get the
Step
step
Yes.
4 as of October 16th?
Yes.
All right, then I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up, the Towards Zero Deaths Grant Contract Resolution.
Thank you. Fit in these armrests, sorry. The 2023 fiscal year grant cycle for the Office of Traffic Safety's Towards Zero Death Traffic Safety Enforcement Grant began on October 1st of this year. We are the fiscal host for this federal traffic safety enforcement funding, which is administered by the Minnesota Department of Public Safety. The contract application with the Department of Public Safety for this funding requires a resolution authorizing the police department the authority to enter into the agreement and execute the grant. The grant contract agreement amount is for $51,350, and of that amount, $2,950 is designated for dispatch and/or administrative costs associated with administering the grant. In addition, the Brainerd Police Department, as the grantee, is entitled up to $900 in matching equipment purchases, which we have been using annually to replace our preliminary breath test machines.
Is that a breathalyzer?
Yes.
Preliminary breath test?
Correct. Yep. So recommended motion is to pass the attached resolution authorizing the police chief the authority to execute the 2023 Towards Zero Death Grant.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. I have a question on the dispatch administrative. Have we been getting that in prior years? That's just standard with the grant that we've always been.
That it has been, yeah.
And what do we do with that?
Yeah, good question. So our, Tony Rundy, primarily the one that, coordinates the financial grant and whatnot, his administrative time doing this is actually pretty minimal. This last year, I think we incurred 4 overtime hours for him to write the grant, so we were reimbursed out of that. Crow Wing County Dispatch, for the last several years, has not utilized this, and really the reason being is for several years they've had quite a bit of staff shortage. In order to use this, they would need someone to come in that's off duty to work an overtime shift due to staffing. They just really haven't had that ability, so therefore during the enforcement projects they just dispatch us with the normally scheduled staff. And what we don't use of this goes directly into enforcement, so it just increases the amount of proceeds for enforcement.
Of the TZD
yes,
enforcement?
That is correct.
Okay.
So,
Do we reimburse like any of Connie's time for like cutting all of the checks and all of that?
We haven't, but we could use some of those funds for that, yes.
So something we might want to look into. We do pay you and your time is valuable,
Right.
so.
It would be more of Pam's time, because she, I check the deposit, send it to her, we coordinate with Tony to get the report, she's the one that books it, she's the one that writes the checks.
Yeah.
So,
It's
be more
something,
her time.
it's something to
Yes.
look into. It's like, remember the last meeting, the county just takes their
Yeah.
10% admin, and I've been talking about maybe we should, when we are the entity that manages grants for the region, we should be getting an admin for all of our staff and elected officials' time dealing with it. But we don't have a motion. Did we get a motion? We did get a motion, right? Any other discussion?
No, we didn't have a motion to this yet.
Yeah, we did, I made
I
a
think
motion.
Tiffany
And you
made
seconded
it.
it.
You seconded it.
Oh,
All in favor, say aye.
I'm still stuck on my computer.
He's still on edge.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, both same sign. That motion carries. Thank you. Next up is health insurance broker agreement and fee.
Included in your packet is the 2023 service agreement between the City of Brainerd and North Risk Partners for North Risk Partners to be our 2023 health insurance broker for the Better Health Collective, formerly known as Sourcewell. North Risk Partners has been our health insurance broker since October of 2020. Since that time, we have learned how beneficial a fully engaged broker can be for our renewal process, as well as presenting and negotiating benefits for us. As an example, Northwest Partners was able to negotiate a reduction for our 2022 premium renewal from 6.5% to 3.7%, and also a reduction for our 2023 renewal from 4.4% to 3%. It is estimated that the city's share of the 2023 employer's premium contribution will be reduced by about $12,000. And just to let you know, the city's share of the 2023 broker's fee will be about $13,000. Staff is asking for a motion to retain Northwest Partners as our broker.
So move.
Second.
Simple math question. They saved us $12,000 and are proposing we pay them $13,000?
They're saving $12,000 in premium, and their fee is a full $25,000. The city's share of that is $13,000, BPU and HRA.
Oh, so that $12,000 of savings is between all Public Utility Commission?
No, it's just the city side.
So the city saved $12,000, and then the city's share is paying $13,000. So we're losing $1,000 on this deal.
Well, we get a lot of benefit for that $1,000 for having the broker help us out throughout the year between questions and open enrollment and things like that. They do quite a bit of work for us.
And I
Okay.
think the amount they saved us last year was more than what we paid them.
Usually you don't get a refund or an offset. We're just really lucky they were able to negotiate that premium reduction for us.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up, consider updating the financial management policies for the fund balance policy. Connie?
So we have eight financial policies, and one of them has to do with our fund balance policy. It was last reviewed and updated in February of 2020. And the pages are all on the last, or the changes are all on the last page of the policy. So when we updated it in 2020, we changed that the cash flow in the range of 35 to 50% of the working fund's subsequent year operating expenses. And the reason we were trying to be forward-looking is because we need to have enough fund balance to operate for the first 6 months of the next year. Although that is true, in speaking with our financial advisors, he said that the financial policies are based on the current year, not subsequent years. And that was also one of the changes that P&F Chair Johnson had also recommended that we change it back to instead of subsequent. And then the other change is just, so this paragraph deals with what it should be. This talks about if we are under it. The last paragraph kind of talked about if we were in the range, and that's where we had that we could only increase of 1% over the previous years if we were within that range. To me, this language in the last paragraph would just clarify that when I say within the city's range of 35 to 50%, what I'm hoping that clarifies is that if we fall below the 35%, that we can make up the difference all in 1 year instead of having to do just 1%. So those are the recommended changes to the policy, all dealing with those paragraphs. Staff's recommendation or motion would be to accept or to give us further guidance.
Okay, so the transfer to the capital fund balance, will you explain that again to me? So we're not transferring everything over a 1% increase?
Nope, we still
Necessary.
are, but only when we are in the range of 35 to 50% in the previous years. We could only increase 1%.
Oh.
So for example, where I think we're gonna fall below to 22%, let's just say for 2022, we can make up all that difference in
Okay.
2023.
No transfers to 400 until we get up above 30.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
But we're not going down to 22.
We're not going to.
Okay.
Say it with conviction. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yes, I think we're gonna fall below 35%. I'm almost 100% positive we are going to, but
Well, should we just change the fund balance policy from 30 to 50%?
no, because I think it's gonna be even lower than that, but we'll see. I know, I'm not very optimistic here. That 1.9 kind of hurts. So,
Well, I will move to adopt the changes.
as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to update the fund balance policy as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We're done. We will adjourn. See you upstairs.
Second.